Crawl out from the fallout, baby.
Do you have an intro?
I was just going to go, crawl out from the fallout, baby. And then, I figured you could do your little thing and put the song in or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
I'm a basketball guy now, Chris.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
We've talked about this in our personal lives here
Sure.
and there. Like whenever we go to a bar or something like that, one of us will say, I want to get into a sport, just like a sport.
Doesn't matter.
And I just made the decision the other day. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a basketball guy. And so I just looked it up. Went to google.com, typed in,
What do I need to know?
how do you get into basketball?
Yeah.
And
On
I
a wiki how?
found countless Reddit posts of people posting on r/NBA and stuff like that. Like, hey, explain to me like I'm an idiot. How do I get into basketball?
Yeah.
And it turns out basketball fans aren't really well spoken. All of them are just
Watch it, bro.
watch basketball.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, but like, how do I find a team? And people are like, you watch basketball and you find a team that you like, and like as you watch, like there are like storylines of the players, and like you watch a player, you're like, oh, this guy's really good, and you watch them get better or get worse, and like the drama that goes on with like them and getting injured and this and that. And a bunch of people are like, okay, well, where do I start? And people are like, you turn the TV on and you watch basketball.
Yeah.
And so I was at a bar with some folks. And I almost said a video game was on. A game was on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was the 76ers versus the Knicks. And I was like, okay, whoever wins this game will be my basketball team until I die. So you were looking at the world's newest diehard New York Knicks fan.
Wow.
So
Nick is a big fan of the Knicks.
exactly.
That's good.
The only problem is, though, I think the uniforms are so ugly.
I don't know what they look like offhand.
I believe their away jerseys are like, well, fuck, I don't know which one's away and which one's home. One set is white and then like with like blue and orange letters, which is
Yeah.
And then the other one are blue with blue and orange letters, and I think those look way better, but also I'm like,
Yeah.
And like, you know me, I have a passion for fashion. That's pretty much all I'm into basketball for is the looks.
You're right, yes.
But I want to find a good team. I'm from Detroit. It'd be cool to root for the Pistons because I think they look sick as hell. But also,
especially that the blue, maroon, black kind
of. Oh yeah,
it's
so sick.
That one's a good one.
But also, they're not good.
Yeah.
So it would just be disappointing to watch them over and over again. And then I could be like, oh, I want to be a Celtics fan because the Celtics are always good. I think they're going to take it this year. But they're green and white.
Yeah.
Gag me with a spoon.
Not feeling that.
Hideous.
Okay.
So I'm settled with blue, orange, and white. I'm a New York Knickerbockers until New York Nick and Dyers.
In other news, the NFL draft is happening here in Detroit. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did.
Yeah. About 300,000 people influx into the city.
And why would you?
I don't know.
I could see being like really into sports and watching the draft.
Yeah, I guess so.
Can't
I just never
imagine
thought about it as like
going.
a live event people that attend to, but of course, again, it's capitalism, anything,
Oh,
and
yeah,
people sell
absolutely,
tickets to it, but I just
absolutely,
never thought like that. Like when I thought of the NFL draft, I thought of like something that happens on TV, not something that's like hosted somewhere, I guess. Or even like I figured the NFL had like a headquarters and it just happened there. I didn't think it was like a traveling show.
Yeah, exactly.
It is strange to me.
It reminds me of golf. I was thinking about it. I was watching golf on TV. I've been going to a lot of bars lately. At a bar the other day, and I was like, I love golf. I love playing golf. I can watch golf on TV for a little bit.
Yeah.
Cannot fucking fathom the idea of going somewhere to watch other people play golf.
Yeah.
Just like, because while I'm playing golf, I'm like, it's hot, and I kind of don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And to be doing that and not playing golf, kill me.
Not at least in my opinion, that's definitely not an observation sport where like anybody should be paying attention.
Like how would you? I don't know how you in person would watch golf.
Yeah, it's like watching someone just like sit and smoke a cigarette or something. Like it's just like,
but
that's barely doing anything. Golf is what I'm saying. Like it's just like
exactly. But if like you're watching someone smoke a cigarette, and for 90% of the time the cigarette is invisible to the human eye because it's so small and moving so fast.
Anywho, that's enough sports corner, probably, right?
Yeah, we'll get you. Oh, and I was really excited to watch. I was like, cool. Thursday, Knicks game is on. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch it. I missed it. I just totally forgot.
Nice.
I don't know how they're doing, so I'm immediately the world's worst Knicks fan.
So yeah, we watched Fallout. I mean, I watched Late Night with the Devil. You said you watched it a while ago.
I did. I do remember it,
Yeah.
but I'm fuzzy on a little bit of it.
We'll probably talk about that one last because Fallout's the big buzz. So yeah, Fallout, real quick. You know, you got a history that I got a history. I mean, mainly it's Fallout 4 for me. You know, definitely a Fallout 4 fan. People always talk about New Vegas. People always talk about Fallout 3. I tried. You know, it looks like everything looks like rocks.
It sure does.
You know.
Yeah, everything's just gray and gross, other than Fallout New Vegas, everything's just brown and gross.
Yeah. One's just gray and one's just orange. And then Fallout 4 is like, oh, hey, look at this. This is a world that your eyes can perceive. And I'm like, awesome. That works great for me.
Yeah. I played Fallout 3 when it came out. Someone recommended it to me. I was in... Fuck, when did Fallout 3 come out?
Like 2007 or 8, something like that.
So I was in probably middle school. And I played it. I'm like, this is gray and gross. And the shooting isn't good.
No, yeah, I don't even think you can look down on the sights unless you have like a sniper.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And so I just played it for a while. I was like, this is whatever. And the story I thought was like, kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I, as you do in Fallout, you're just wandering through the wasteland, lost, trying to get somewhere. And like, I stumbled upon a little town. And I started looking around and investigating and stuff like that. Saw a man in a suit. I hadn't seen anyone in a suit yet. And I went, I'm going to try to pickpocket this man's suit off of his body.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I got caught immediately, and I had to kill everybody in the town. I was like, well, that sucked. And then I went into like a back shack somewhere and found a bunch of strange meat.
Yeah.
And I found a bunch of like notes that were all strange and stuff like that. And I came outside, and there was an old man, and he was like, thank you for killing everyone in this town. They're all cannibals. And I was just like, oh, no way. And then, which I think is just the selling point of Fallout. I think that's the magic of Fallout, is the stuff that you find on the way from place to place. And that's
the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. And that's how I felt about Fallout 4 when it came out. And a lot of people hate Fallout 4. I think it's very poorly written, which I wouldn't disagree with. I think the main Finding Your Son story is pretty weak, and it's kind of whatever. But just like that experience I had in Fallout 3, going from place to place is so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And finding stuff is so much fun.
Yeah, independent of the show coming out, I got back into playing it.
Yeah.
On survival. That was really cool, because again, I think that's like a fun part of the game that's missing if you don't play on it, where it's like managing the radiation, managing hunger, managing thirst. I mean, it's literally a post-apocalypse, and you know, like to be lacking the survival element of it definitely like robs it of a little something, you know.
Oh yeah, I get that.
And I was having a lot of fun with that, and then they announced the show, and I also, again, before the show kind of came out, was like getting a little deep into Fallout YouTube and watching a lot of videos of people saying like, hey, 10 years ago I was like, this game is gay. And I'm dumb for saying that. Like, people are just like, you know, yeah, like it might be like written kind of poorly, but like I think the big draw is that like this is probably the best and most satisfying that like being out in the wasteland has felt, like in terms of just exploring. Like, it's whatever, like, oh, your son, and then the guy's voiced and blah 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 blah. These like complaints, sure, that's all well and good, but once you just get out into Boston and you blasting away,
there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's unparalleled in the series, is what a lot of people have been saying lately.
It's
so.
And yeah, I've watched some stuff from people talking about singing the praises of Fallout New Vegas, like even compared to 3, and how like it makes 3 look like a bad game. Yeah. Because I didn't know I know a different studio made New Vegas rather than Bethesda, but I didn't know that studio also was filled with people who worked on the original 2 Fallout games. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. And yeah, hearing people talk about like the role-playing element of New Vegas and like all the different things you can do and the different ways you can fuck a situation up and it doesn't hold your hand through anything. Yeah. I could see, if you really love those games, jumping to 4 being like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, because there's not really any big like fuck up or consequences. And honestly, there are a lot of games that I feel like people are kind of clamoring for that and not getting it. Like, you know, as a guy who plays like a lot of like Western RPGs, like things like Skyrim, like again, that's another Bethesda title where people are like, hey, dude, where's like the fuck up? Like where you like make a decision and there's actually like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's definitely lacking because, yeah, I watched a couple of retrospectives on the original Fallout games. And, it's like with the first one, your overseer pulls you aside and is like, water chip, bad, 2 months to live, go find new.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there are decisions you can make where, like, you can, like, bump into, like, a caravan and you could, like, be like, hey, bring water to those guys. And it'll buy you some extra time in-game because the game is timed. But now people know the location of your vault, and your vault could get attacked by raiders. And when you get back at the end of the game, everybody could be dead because you gave away your location. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of decisions like that to make, obviously, Or like another one that I remember being described in the first one, I think, is like a town where a gang runs the town, and you're presented with the opportunity to like kick them out or give them full control of the town. And it's one of those like catch-22s where if you kick them out, the industry is entirely built around their like illegal gambling, and the town will make no money, and everybody will starve and die. If you give them control, it becomes even more of a cesspool, and everybody's life is shit because it's run by a fucking gang and crime. So it's like, which do you want to do, right? And then they made Fallout the show.
They did.
Seems like people like it.
Oh yeah, people love it.
Yeah.
When it came out, I mean, when it was announced, I personally was just like, oh, there's no possible way that could be good.
For sure, yeah, definitely. I was watching the trailer and I was trying to explain that to my brother Donald. Like, I was like, it's a video game adaptation. Like, you can't really dance around that. That it hasn't historically worked.
Yeah. People really like The Last of Us, but I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it came out and people were like, the show's actually pretty good. And I was just like, yeah, but people said that about The Last of Us, and I don't think The Last of Us is bad.
Yeah.
But The Last of Us has a lot of I don't know. Watching The Last of Us, I very much felt like, I mean, yeah, okay, I've played the video game. This feels needless. There is that episode with Nick Offerman, which is very good, but the rest of it, I was just like, yeah, I get it. I've seen this, and every like reference to the game or anything that was like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the game, I was just like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
It just feels gross in a way that I can't explain very well because I'm not a very well-spoken man. I shouldn't be on the show.
Yeah.
But that stuff always bothers me. There was something I think I sent it to you, but something I watched about like adaptations, very specifically video game adaptations. I was just like, well, like, what's the point? Like, if you're going to adapt something, there should be a point, not just like, aha, cool, now it's on TV, so now it's like matters.
Yeah.
Or now it's a movie, so now it like matters. I think that sucks.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, when I heard about Fallout coming out, and even after it came out and people were talking about how good it was, I was like thinking about it. I was like, what would the perfect Fallout show be? And I think it would be, I was like, it should be like almost like a Monster of the Week type thing.
Okay.
Where our main character doesn't have a lot of personality, and that's totally fine. But just like what's so good about the games, wandering out around the wasteland, stumbling upon something super interesting.
Yeah.
Every week, I'm like, yeah, it should be almost like an anthology show where every week is a different story from the wasteland.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, fuck, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I watched Fallout the show, and they kind of do that here and there.
Yeah.
And I was pretty pleasantly surprised by it. And so I think the Fallout show was good, and I shouldn't have been so mean to it.
Yeah, no, I think the Fallout show was good. I think there is always the like lost in translation portion.
Yeah.
Where just like a video game is inherently not a movie is inherently not a video game. So you do lose a little feel.
Yes.
For sure. Like this is just like the way that Boston looks, it'd be a big ask to be like, all right, now make a show that looks like that,
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's interesting to me is like the wasteland itself is pretty bland, boring.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that like it's like I'm not a big complaint, but like the vault got a lot of attention for sure. Vault's great.
It sure did, and it looks great. Yeah.
The wasteland is just that, a wasteland for sure, which is a problem with the Fallout series in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I've seen a lot of people point out about, especially like Fallout 4 is like this is 200 years after, the nuclear war. people who are like seriously obsessed with the lore, and they're just like, there's no way that people would still be living in like gas stations that are missing a wall 200 years later. They would have patched that up.
Yes, exactly.
So all I'm saying is that like, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people are like, just objectively, people would have made structures.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be living in the like broken out, like blown out, like remnants of what was,
Yeah.
But anyways, we do see some towns. We see Philly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And obviously it's not going to be everywhere. But I'm just saying like, just something that plagues the Fallout universe forever is that little conundrum. Because it looks cool. Like when you think of post-apocalyptics, of course you want it to look.
Mm-hmm.
Your first instinct is like everything's destroyed and it's dusty, So I get it. But yes, Vault's definitely more fun.
It's been a while. Yeah. There was one part in this that you just reminded me of in Fallout 4 when you first meet your dog. He's at the grossly named Red Rocket gas station.
I always hate that. I've never been a fan of that.
But that gas station in the game, when you come upon it, even though it's 10 feet from a town that you just left, it does feel like it is in the middle of nowhere and nobody has been here. And so it does kind of track that it looks the way it does. Like you're saying, like there's like a bunch of holes in it and everything like that. When they go to one in the show, I was like, this is a parking lot. And looking at it, I was just like, I could walk there right now. This exists in my world right now. But I would say for the most part, I think they did kind of avoid that with the show. Everything did feel believable in the world.
Yeah.
And it does make sense that they spent so much time in the vaults because especially anything to do with vault tech feels ripped straight out of specifically Fallout 4, which I think is a good decision. I think that's the best part of Fallout 4. Like we said, like you said, it's like, oh, it has color and it's something my eyes can process.
Yeah.
But just the tweaks and the like polish that they put on some stuff, like the Pip-Boy or the guns or the vault suits and the way a vault actually looks, has always been one of my favorite things of Fallout 4, and to see it translated, for better or worse, 1-to-1 in the show, I was like, this is nice. This is nice to look at.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think for sure the vaults were some of the most interesting stuff.
But I would say, personally,
my
biggest plus for this show, a ghoul who before the war was a cowboy on TV, who then got got talked into doing the ads for Vault-Tec.
Yeah.
Fucking so cool.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's so like, it's one of those things where I don't want to be like, I don't want to praise it too much because I don't want it to be like, oh, this is fucking incredible. This is groundbreaking. I just think it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Like the way like a video game could be. And it's just like, oh, that's so like, I don't want to say inspired, but that's not the right word. But it's just like, hey, to take all the pieces of Fallout that you have of pre-war and post-war and Vault-Tec and what times were like before, what times are like now. I think the perfect combination of all those things.
Yeah.
Or a guy that used to play a cowboy on TV and then did ads for Vault-Tec and now he's a ghoul in the wasteland who is an actual cowboy.
Yeah.
That's awesome and I love it.
Yeah.
Also,
it is interesting also like him playing like a falsified version of a cowboy where he's like, I kind of want to be the good guy. I don't really want to shoot this guy on the ground, but now in the wasteland he's just like a cowboy who will like shoot a child.
Yeah. And when you see that flashback with him and Kyle MacLachlan? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I love that scene where you shot that guy, which is the one that he was upset about.
Yeah, he's like, you shot that fucker in the face. It was awesome, yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good. Great. And then also, our other characters are there, and I think they're fine.
I like Brotherhood of Steel guy a lot.
Maximus.
Yeah.
I cannot... Lucy. Her name's Lucy.
Lucy,
Vault-Tec
Lucy,
woman.
Chris Parnell calls her Goosey.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Chris Parnell's in the show.
Yeah, great.
What? Do you remember the episode where Ghoul Man goes to... His name's Cooper. I don't know how I could forget.
Cooper Howard.
Cooper Howard is,
I believe,
in that house. Like that guy and that farmer and his son come home, and she's like, I found this letter on your boy, and there's a big hole, and he's like, because I killed him, and you got to tell me where he was going.
Yeah.
The dad is Eric Estrada.
Is that skateboarder? Who is that?
Eric Estrada's from Chips.
No, okay, all right.
The old TV show about the motorcycle cops.
Sure.
He was a pretty big deal, and I think he's still the name that people recognize.
Well, not me, apparently. I thought he was a skateboarder.
Not you, apparently. That is a skateboarder-ass name, Eric
It
Estrada.
is. Yeah,
really
Eric
is.
Estrada sounds like somebody who can not a spin or
Absolutely. Eric Estrada for sure.
360 McFlurry.
For Plan B. But Eric Estrada's in the show for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
That it just really took me out of it. Why? That's all. Why? Why is all I would like to know.
There's some interesting cameos, like Michael Rappaport is in it for a second.
Oh yeah. He's the
Knight
the knight.
Max kills
That's
or
so
lets
funny.
die. Yeah,
that guy sucks. He like real life sucks shit. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Really?
But also, if you're gonna cast someone as a knight in the Brotherhood of Steel, make it him. Or if he was Tim Allen, I'd be like, yeah, that's trash. So how do we want to do this?
I don't know. I got some notes.
All right, cool. 'Cause
Roughly.
I took no notes.
I mean, some of it's just running through like what happens. So episode 1, you get the bombs dropping. You know, Cooper's doing like a birthday party. It seems like it's like a shameful thing, like he's doing to just try to get by, which I think sets up why later on he takes the Vault Tech job. Because I think slight hard times maybe or something.
I think.
Or that's after the Vault Tech. Oh,
Yes.
yes, it's after the Vault Tech because people have kind of blacklisted him.
Yes.
Because they look down on him for doing the ads. Yeah, that's what it is. I forgot that happens.
Yeah.
It's super non-linear. Yeah. Bombs drop, and yeah, that was definitely like, yeah, because they have that conversation about how he's like, well, if you see whatever it is, the beginning, and then she's doing like, she's like, my thunder, your thunder. Very sad, very crazy.
Also, it's a dumb complaint that I don't want to make. Hold on, I could have had a quote the other day that I saw that reminded me of this. But I don't know, whenever a nuclear explosion goes off in a movie, and you go, that person's standing way too close to that. Yeah. There's no way we would ever see this person again. I can let it go. And that happens here. It's like, oh, he's way too close to that bomb. He's, like he said, there's no point in running. Yeah. And they drop like 9 more. Yeah. Like right in front of him. I'm like, all right, fuck it, all right.
But he gets ghoulified from it.
He absolutely does.
Get some Vault Tech. Go on.
I am confused about that because he, at the end, when he goes to shoot Kyle MacLachlan, he says, where's my fucking family? Which means that would make sense because his wife worked for Vault Tech, which means she's one of the brains in the jars or whatever in the Vault. What was it, 31?
Something like that, yeah.
Is his daughter in there as well?
Maybe.
How'd they get there? She
said that Vault Tech's going to drop the bombs. So she probably already knew it was going to happen.
And so she let her daughter be with him?
Oh, good question.
While the bombs dropped?
I don't know. And if he says, we'll find out in season 2.
Yeah, if he says, where's my family, he's not talking about just his wife.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway.
What happened there?
No idea.
You know? Is it a plot hole or are they going to address it in season 2? Only time will tell. Who can say where the road goes? I just showed that to my friend, Drew, and he was just immediately like, damn, this is like some Twin Peaks shit. Like, this is a song they'd be playing at the fucking,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
At, what is it? The fucking...
the double R?
The
Bang Bang?
Bang Bang, whatever. What is it called? They call it the Roadhouse today?
Yeah, it's the Roadhouse, yeah.
Anyways, in this vault, they do like the exchange thing. They like do cousin stuff until it's time to get serious, and that was a really funny joke to me.
Yeah, because they really hammer home the cousin stuff,
Yeah, and I do like... I do like that about the show is that they're just definitely not afraid to just kind of like, be a little James Gunn about it. They're definitely be like the dark sense of humor,
Yeah, no, and it's something I guess I'd never thought about with the vaults. It's like, oh yeah, you're at the vaults 200 years after the bomb drops. People are fucking family for sure. That's what's happening.
After 10 years of cousin stuff, I'm ready for the real thing. She says. Vault 32 comes along. They're actually raiders. They killed everybody in the vault, wore the suits, came over, and we meet Moldaver. Mm-hmm. Right. She's like there to kidnap Kyle MacLachlan.
I got part of it ruined for me.
Okay.
Where, with Moldaver specifically, how is she there?
I don't really know how.
200 years old?
Yeah, I don't know how her or Kyle MacLachlan's dad are people who are pre-war that are still technically alive.
Oh, Kyle MacLachlan's dad was in the vault full of brains.
Yeah.
Because he worked for Vault Tech.
Yeah.
So what's happening in that vault is they're putting people in cryosleep like Fallout 4.
Okay, so he's been woken up.
Yes, exactly. He got woken up, I don't know, however old Lucy is, like 20 years ago or something like that. But Moldaver is the anti-Vault Tech person.
Yeah.
She probably made herself her own cryo thing. That makes sense.
Who knows? We'll find out in season 2. We get the stim pack. I will say, unrealistic how only one is really used in the show.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. If you use them in the game, you stab yourself with like 6 at a time for sure.
But anyways.
You have it bound to a button and you just mash it.
Yeah. Brotherhood of Steel shows up. They're the finders and preservers, whatever. They're looking for artifacts. People say that they really fucked up the Brotherhood of Steel. I don't know because I never sided with them, so they seemed fine to me. I didn't really...
Yeah, I would say the exact opposite. This is the only time I found the Brotherhood of Steel at all interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the games, anytime I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck these nerds. I don't give a shit what they have going on.
Yeah, and when we meet Max, they just keep playing Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah. So that really endeared me to them.
Yeah. Razor Blade and the boot prank.
Always a gas. Love it.
Perfect. Great. A great way to haze your friends.
Fucking nothing makes me squeam more than like getting cut below the shin. You know what I'm talking about? Like your foot ankle area. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Brotherhood of Steel, extremist with nowhere to go kind of thing, giving my life meaning, the good boy thing. You know, him, when Max is like, he's like, hey, why do you want to do this? He's like, because everything I know has been destroyed, and like, if this gives me something to like do and somewhere to belong, then like, hell yeah, I need that really bad. You know? Walter Goggins, someone who's read Preacher, they kind of got him on Saint of Killers mode.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is, but long story short, in Preacher, the main character, Jesse Custer, is like possessed by the spirit of an angel and a devil having fucked like their little baby or whatever, and it's something called Genesis, and it's like something that's supposed to be like as powerful as God. That scares God, so he leaves post. Angels don't really know what to do. They're trying to like get Genesis back to heaven, right? And they know that, you know, obviously he's inside Jesse Custer, so they want to go get Jesse Custer. So what they do is they wake up the Saint of Killers, which is basically someone like Walter Goggins who there's a flashback issue where he's got a situation where, long story short, he gets the opportunity to like meet death, like the Grim Reaper, and like he takes his post, so he's kind of like the Grim Reaper, but he's got like Walter Goggins energy. He's like a cowboy, you know.
Okay.
And so the angels go and like wake him up in like a scene that's like eerily similar to how Walter Goggins is like in a crypt. They like wake him up, you know, and
I forgot about that.
yeah, and they're basically just like, Jesse Custer, you gotta go get him, you know. So
It's pretty sick.
very much like that. So if you like that, you'd like the Saint of Killers in Preacher quite a bit.
Do you remember the video game Death Jr.?
No.
All right, moving on.
And then Lucy leaves the vault, even though everybody's like, don't leave the vault. Stay down here.
I saw what's her cousin's name that is in love with her?
Oh.
You know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah, he hangs out with the lady with the baby, right?
He hangs out late. Yeah. I saw somebody say this. I can't remember who it was, and so I apologize. But they're like, I don't know how to explain it, but that man has a resting musical face. I like that's a great point. It's like, yeah, every time you see him, you're like, this man's about to sing a song.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
And her brother, kid from Hannah Montana.
Yeah. So yeah, episode 1, pretty decent.
Not bad at all.
See, episode 2.
My guy Kyle knocking it out of the park. I always got to shout out Kyle McLaughlin.
Yeah. Episode 2, they making dog meats?
Yes, with Dr. Siggy Wilzig.
Yes.
Who
Yeah.
is from Saw 1.
Ah.
Bringing it back. Oh, by the way, we're taking a break from Saw and James Bond this week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
He's the quote-unquote apprentice that turns out to be doing his own challenge, remember? He worked in the hospital. He's the guy that you think is Jigsaw for the whole movie.
It's ringing a very faint bells.
He comes in at the end and goes, sorry, but you lost. And he goes to shoot him, and then the guy hits him with the toilet lid. And then Jigsaw gets up and goes, game over. That guy wasn't Jigsaw, I'm Jigsaw. You remember?
Yeah, kind of.
Anyway, he's the doctor of this.
Yeah. Does he have an accent in this?
No.
Oh, in my head he does.
He's got an American one.
Oh,
And
well,
then
I'm
later-
going to read it with an accent.
But then
Go ahead.
later, he gets his foot cut off.
Yeah.
Like Saw.
Just like Saw. And he gets his head cut off.
Like
well, him and Lucy
probably
keep
a
bumping
different
into each
Saw.
other.
Yes.
And he says to her, are you still going to want what you want now when you're something different?
That bugged me a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole show, everybody going, "Oh, you're me. Just give it a little time."
Yeah.
That's a hard line. I like that,
Yeah.
but I feel like everybody keeps fucking saying that. Like,
Yeah.
speaking of RPGs, and the like, it would be cool if you could like fuck up here and there in RPGs.
Yeah.
I did start playing Fallout 4 a little bit. And all it made me do was go, man, I gotta get back into Cyberpunk. So I got back into Cyberpunk, which was a buck wild experience because I haven't played it in like 6 months.
Yeah.
I was like halfway through the Phantom Liberty DLC.
Okay.
Which is very like espionage, spy heavy. You're working for the CIA and like people are double crossing people and yada yada. And the larger point I'm trying to get to is it's one of those things where like, oh man, this is a really cool RPG, like in general video game kind of thing because you have to make decisions that go wildly different ways in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, there just straight up is not a right answer here.
Yeah.
Whoever I side with or whoever I agree to go with, I'm majorly fucking over somebody else, and there's just nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's really cool. But the entire time, people keep looking at you and going, there's no right answer. You're going to fuck this up.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes in life you're going to fuck things up because there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Hey, well, at the end of the day, sometimes there isn't a right answer. I'm like, fucking stop telling me that. I get it, all right?
Yeah.
But it was so crazy to start playing it again because, like I said, I haven't played it in 6 months, so it absolutely... I got the experience of having amnesia.
Yeah.
I started it up and I was in a bar and Idris Elba looks at me and goes, okay, make contact with go around the bar, find Somi, and make sure whatever you do not run into Hanson. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no fucking idea who any of these people are. So I'm literally just going around the bar looking at everybody I can going, so me, you, is that you?
Yeah.
It was great. And then like I started a different mission that I guess I had been halfway through, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I can go through with this, man. And I was just like, don't worry, bud. You got it. And he's just like, thank you. You've always been there for me.
Yeah.
Will you pray with me? And I went, okay, yeah, sure, man. I mean, this guy prayed, and he goes, when the time comes, I want you to nail me to the cross. And I went, oh, how symbolic. Yeah, sure, man, I'll do that. He's like, come on. And we walk into another room, and there's a cross there, and I had to nail a guy to a cross. And I was just like, I have no idea. I have absolutely no memory of a mission where a guy wants to be nailed to a cross, and I was involved somehow. So I nailed a guy to a cross. It was pretty sick. Cyberpunk 2077. Check it out, everybody.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants this doctor. Everybody wants this doctor. Walter Goggins wants this doctor. Lucy wants this doctor.
Dog Meat wants this doctor.
Moldaver wants this doctor. We find that out later. She goes to like the little shop or whatever, and the lady's like, "That's my target. I gotta get her back to my client, Moldaver, or whatever." The brother of Steel wants the fucking doctor.
I love that lady. I love the shopkeepers. I liked both of them quite a bit.
Yeah.
When she's yelling at, who's the other woman in the shop with her? Betty. I think her name's Betty.
Yeah.
She's telling her to get like the spare legs or whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, they're under the fucking counter. Like they're screaming or whatever. And she comes over and she drops it. She goes, they weren't under the counter, just so you know.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I will say the only thing that will rub me along the wrong way in the whole show is the only thing. It's my one nitpick. Is for some reason like the first 2 episodes, everybody keeps saying dipshit.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, there's like I think it's like Michael Rappaport calls Max a dipshit, and then later on when they're at the store, she's like, "You're a Vaulty? Yeah, I can't believe them Vault Tech dipshits are still alive." Whatever. And it's just strange. It's one of those things where like you don't hear dipshit in your day-to-day life, so for like. It was just weird to me, and I don't know why, but like I'm just rubbed the wrong way about that lady being like that because like usually, I don't know. I feel like in the games, it's just like people are like, "What's with that blue suit? Are you from the vault?" But they're never like, "You fucking dumb sack of fucking shit." You know what I mean? Like it's just weird. It was just weird.
I do like it though.
Yeah.
Also, let's bring it back. Let's just start it's calling people dipshits more.
Yeah.
Because has anyone ever looked at you and gone, "Hey, dipshit"?
Yeah,
cuts.
I'm trademarking this. What I'm working on right now is like if someone really fucks.
Yeah.
I've just been calling them fuckers. Like he's a real fucker.
Like they have sex a lot.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like that quite a bit.
I'm trademarking it right now. You can use it.
I will.
I'll let you have it, but
I'll let everyone know that it's a Chris Crumley original.
Maximus watches Michael Rappaport die because he's being a fucking dick. My guess here was I was like, he's gonna be a real tiny guy in there inside the suit. He is, but he's not physically small.
Yeah, I think Michael Rappaport is, in my mind, is a man who's 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Oh my god, I love... So yeah, something that the show does really well is definitely like the little, like you were saying, like vignettes where you just like stumble across something like the game. So the first thing she comes across is that guy trying to get water. And he's like, yeah, well, it's like supposed to be a filter from a water or whatever. So keep putting sand in it, but nothing's happening. Or she's like, will you try to put water? He's like, no, I ain't tried that. You know?
And he asks her to marry him. And
Yeah,
like, "No, I'm
yeah.
gonna go."
He's like, stay
Or he goes,
here. You can live with me. I'm sick. I'm dying. This could be all yours.
"Oh, this could be yours." Yeah. Or the first guy that Maximus runs across.
Yeah, the guy who's like, citizen, stop, and like tries to like help whatever. And he's like, once he's let the guy go, he's like, that guy was fucking my chicken.
He's like, "I'm sorry. He just keeps trying to fuck my chickens." That guy's he's the snake oil doctor from later.
Yeah.
Turns that guy into a ghoul.
I did make the note right here. I wrote down 2 dipshits.
The actor, he's from I think is he from Reno 911? He's a guy that you would recognize if you saw him.
I recognize him. I just don't know where from.
But it's great.
But yeah, then when he's talking to the shopkeeper, you know, she calls the vaults a hole in the ground for rich people. But again, it's one of those things where, in my opinion, like, this is just a Fallout problem, not just a show problem, but like there's a discrepancy between, like, you know, the war that happened 200 years ago in the canon of the games. I think my dad mentioned something about the show trying to imply that like more bombs were dropped or something. But over the course of the last 200 years, it's been a while since a bomb's been dropped. Mm-hmm. And all I'm trying to say is like this shopkeeper is like bitter about like vaults were just a hole in the ground for rich people or whatever. And it's like, it's been 200 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it reminds me of like Halloween, because I've been listening back to old episodes. Like, you know, in the canon of the new trilogy, the one where they're like, evil dies tonight, but realistically all that happened is he killed like 4 teenagers 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like weird to 200 years later be like, that's a fucking hole in the ground for rich people. Like, again, in real life, like, they would have had plenty of time to like rebuild some, and like they'd be in a better place, and they wouldn't be so bitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, bitter like it happened yesterday or a month ago or a year ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It happened 200 years ago. You know how long America's been around? Like 250 years or something, right? Like what? So 1776, 1976. Yeah, about 250 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just like 200 years is not a small amount of time, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Anyways, that's a larger nitpick that not just I have, though. I've seen plenty of Fallout discourse about how there's just a disconnect between like how long it's actually been and how the wasteland is portrayed. The wasteland is portrayed as if it were last year or 20 years ago, not 200 years.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
know?
I also feel like I personally like it.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying there is that disconnect for sure. Like, if they just said it happened 50 years ago, even, you know, that'd be more believable. But with it being so long, it's just a little weird sometimes.
I mean, very specifically, them being anti-Vault-Tec folk.
Yeah.
And calling them rich and yada yada, because everybody I would say still knows about the vaults and who went into the vaults. And I get the impression that, you know, Lucy's not the first vault dweller that they've seen. Mm-hmm. Every now and then you'll probably run into one and they're the most naive person you've ever met. Yeah. Because they had a lot of money and they don't know what the real world is like. Yeah. And I like that. No, but I agree with what you're saying.
No, I definitely understand how it works, and it is working for sure. Just calling to attention that little thing. I definitely agree with you. Yeah, definitely works, especially to reinforce some of the themes of, you know, especially the show. You know,
and it's also like, also by that logic, I feel like 200 years isn't an insignificant amount of time. I feel like Walton Goggins would have gotten closure and moved on. But also, it's way cooler that he hasn't. That for 200 years, this cowboy's been looking for his family. Yeah, pretty sick.
Then you know they make off with the doctor having that gross robot foot to replace his blown off foot, and he's like, "You're gonna have to go on without me. Take my head." And she's like, "I'm not taking my head. We're gonna make it." He's like, "No, I'm not. I just took a cyanide pill." Yeah, and I definitely, again, it's just one of those things where, like, much like the cousin fucking thing, like him being like, you could have a much easier time carrying my head. You gotta cut my fucking head off. It's like very Fallout, and
I like that. Good. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. To go back like 20 seconds. Yeah. When Walton Goggins is blowing everybody away in the town. Yeah. Has, like, I think the perfect example of a problem that I have with this whole show. Yeah. Which is where, like, something will happen or someone will do something and then there'll be a line reading or whatever where I'm like, ooh, almost. Yeah. Like, that works for me almost. Like, when he picks up the cherry tomatoes and he's just eating them while he's shooting people, I'm like, okay, almost. Yeah. That's almost cool. But then they'll immediately follow it up. Like, they'll put a button on it that I really like. Yeah. When he eats all the tomatoes or whatever, and then it's quiet for a second, and he throws the caps. He goes, "For the tomatoes." I'm like, I like that kind of it.
All right, episode 3.
Episode 3, titled The Head.
Yeah, because Monster swallows head.
I like the monster. It made me think, I haven't seen a new monster in Fallout between 3 and 4 in New Vegas and 76. So I liked this little freak.
Then she is used as bait by Walter Goggins to get the monster back up, and he pukes up head. Or it's later. They don't get the head back up.
Yeah, I think the Maximus.
Maximus and his squire, the squire who used to beat Maximus up, get it out.
Also, I know it's a TV show, but I mean, a good TV show I think makes you do this.
Yeah.
The entire time he's with that new guy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you know that Titus ran. He tells it to the guy at the end. He died running.
Yeah.
Just tell people that.
Yeah.
Just go, hey, he was a fucking traitor, and he ran, and he said a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And because I'm the realest of the real,
Yeah.
I took the armor, all right?
Yeah. And then down in the vault, I really love the reintegration of the Raiders at the vault. Like they just be like, we can rehabilitate them, you know.
I do
Hannah
like,
Montana Boy just being like, or we could fucking kill them for being monsters.
I like everybody in the vaults. I did.
Yeah,
I
thought the vaults were gonna be like, honestly, the first 2 episodes, I was like, shit, that's gonna be corny. This is gonna suck. But for the rest of the show, yeah, I really like all the vault stuff.
I was like, just their general tone and the way
Yeah.
they talk and like the jokes that happened down there. I was like, this is gonna get old fast.
Yeah.
And it didn't. Like the guy with the mustache that was just like, I voted for the other guy. Just constantly, I'm like,
Yeah.
I like this guy. I think that joke hits every single time.
It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Maximus makes the head vomit up, and that's all I really got down for episode 3. I know that he's, towing Lucy around now. She trapped. But episode 4 is where they get more interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sorry. I was misremembering something. Sorry, go on.
They bump into Roger, the ghoul who's gone feral. It's that nice, like, Lenny petting the rabbits thing. And moment where he's like, remember apple pie? He's like, god damn, I remember apple pie. And, shoots him or whatever.
Yep.
Pretty tough. And then, the other's the whole, I'm you, sweetie. And they go finger for finger. Woohoo! That was crazy.
It's gross, yeah.
It was pretty gross. He tries to sell Lucy. Then there's the mystery of Vault 32 stuff where Hannah Montana Boy downstairs is like, something ain't right here, Lucy breaks out of the whole, like, whatever the fuck is going on there, like human trafficking, organ harvesting, whatever.
Organ harvesting. I like, shout out Matt Berry is the voice of Cosworth. I like that quite a bit. I like that he shows up later as well.
Yeah, I love him in The Mighty Boosh. I have not watched the Shadows thing yet.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
He's great in that. And yeah, he's one of those actors for sure. If you put him in something, it's immediately at least 30% better.
Oh yeah,
I just love him. I think he's great.
Yeah. Later on, when like they're talking at the party, he's like, I made $10 million. Like, how much they pay you? He's like $100,000, and they try to give me one of those robots with my own voice. Like, I'm gonna want to come home and hear that. I'm gonna want to come home and hear, hello, can I get you that? It's
I love it. It's great.
Anyways, she's very adamant because again, she's got this like staunch, like lawful good, like do the right thing that continually keeps biting her in the ass because she doesn't understand nuance.
Mm-hmm.
And so she frees like ghouls. The ghouls attack, kill people. Yeah, but yeah, I like when she's got like the fucking Codsworth by like the neck or whatever, and she's like, I'll kill it. And they're like, okay, yeah, it's like an air conditioner. We really don't give a fuck if you kill it.
They're like, no, but an air conditioner actually, that's pretty useful. I'd rather you hurt him than an air conditioner.
Yeah. And then Lucy gives drugs to the ghoul because she's like, I'm not you, sweetie. And then Ghoul watches TV of Old Coop.
Yeah, love that. Just like, I just can't get over how. Oh god, I just can't get over how cool I think cowboys are, Chris.
Yeah. I have fewer notes for the last 3, not in a bad way, but just episode 5, I've got down the whole Squire disabling Maximus because he comes clean about how Thaddeus. He was like, yep, I let him die to a bear. He was a dick, and then the little Squire's just like, well, I'm taking this fusion core and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Also, so funny to tell him that moments after you branded him with a big T on his back.
Yeah. And then next morning, he's been trapped in the suit the whole time. Lucy comes along. I really the Lucy and him stuff is so sweet every time in the show. It really got me.
Yeah, I think it's
really good.
I think it's almost perfect.
Yeah,
because
I don't know why. Like they have this chemistry where like I'm like, I want these two together.
Yeah, like I it's a huge problem I would say in a lot of things where it's just like, oh yeah, these two people, this relationship's zooming along way too fast.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that these two people have been together long enough to have formed this relationship. But when it's a Vault Dweller and a Brotherhood of Steel member, and we've seen millions and millions of time how naive and like closed off to like actual other people and real like relationships are. It's like, oh, this makes sense that these two are just immediately in love with each other.
Yeah.
And I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah. She lets him out of the suit, trepidatiously. She's concerned about doing this. And they begin traveling together, looking for the head. Very sweet. Love these guys. Down in the vault, Hannah Montana Boy is uncovering some like Vault 31 to 33 shit. What's going on with the relationship? I think in this one or the next couple, there's the whole thing with like, we're going to move some people to 32 and repopulate it, and a lady becomes overseer, and there's just weird stuff going on that, honestly, hey, some of it was lost on me. I just knew, like, yeah, Vault Tech, weird stuff. But the actual characters involved, I do like everybody down in the Vault.
They, him and Hannah Montana Boy and Musical Man, they go to Vault 32, and the suit's all fucked up.
It's the part in the game that I almost always don't pay attention to. In the game, there's terminals in all these vaults that, like, explain, like, all the lore of the scientists and what experiments they've been doing and what happened and blah, 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 blah. I don't read it.
Yeah, almost never.
Yeah.
When I do read them, I'm like, that was pretty cool. But then I go into another one, I'm like, I ain't reading a book again. I'm sorry. But, they go into Vault 32 and see everybody's dead inside. And then they come back the next day when we're going to repopulate people in here. Everything's fixed. Great use of the song. What a difference 24 hours can make. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Also, just knocking out of the park with the old-timey, spooky, post-apocalyptic 50s music.
Yeah. There's like a handful of them that I'm sure there's some more that I don't necessarily recognize from like the other games I haven't played, but there's like half a dozen that are in Fallout 4 for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you were gonna say...
And then the other thing I have written down for that episode is the bridge confrontation. The let's put our hands up and walk past her, and the whole time, like, Maximus is being like, we don't have a gun, we're not armed. And she's like, yes, we do. Why are you saying that? He's like, because for sure they've got a gun, and like, do not be trusting. And she's like, but I'm so trusting. And
yeah.
And
is this where they show up to Shady Sands?
Yeah, and I think it's destroyed, and he says, this is where I'm from.
Which is, isn't that,
I think the first time you go to in, like, Fallout 1 or something.
I think it's,
or 2, maybe.
New Vegas is around there, I want to say.
That could also be
I remember hearing people being bummed out that it's like, oh, does this mean that New Vegas no longer exists?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What at the end where, I guess huge spoilers, like, Kyle MacLachlan walks up on, is that not like the Vegas strippy thing? Like, that looks like...
I don't remember.
It looks like something from what I've seen of New Vegas, but I don't know enough about the backstory to, like...
I just vaguely remember him showing up somewhere. I don't remember if it's New Vegas or not.
But anyway, so where we're at, though, moving on to the next episode, you get big Coop lore dump. There's all that stuff. Pre-war. It's a big pre-war episode with just, like, his wife and looking for Vault Tech.
You know what sucks?
Huh?
You said that, and every time you do, you're like, a big Coop lore dump. I was just like, I don't think we see anything about Kyle MacLachlan until, like, the last episode.
We don't, yeah.
But get it, because I think he's also a very famous Cooper.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, shouldn't play music, my bad.
I mean, you can play music, it doesn't matter.
All this stuff with his wife and Vault Tech and him being like, you sure about this, babe? Blah, 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 blah.
I like when he gets the spy on technology, and he goes, what am I doing? And he throws it away. It's just like, okay, that's cool, that makes sense, but I do like 2 minutes later when he's just like, later that night, he's just digging through the trash for it. I was just like, yeah, it's really cool. I don't know, I don't know why I liked that so much, but just him to...
Yeah. And then down in the vault that Maximus and Lucia found themselves in, Vault 4, something's wrong. I mean, Chris Parnell has one eye. Very funny.
Parnell,
Love Chris Parnell.
So good in everything. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Super good.
He always plays the same character in everything, and he fucking kills it. It's so good.
Let's see. And yeah, so basically, I don't know. There's something like with they just keep doing the whole like don't go to level 12 thing.
Yeah.
I'll just bleed into the next episode, like when they catch her and stuff, and they got her sat down in the office, and he's just like just classic Chris Parnell stuff. He's like, I'm sorry, you have to go. We just told you not to go to level 12, and you just had to go to level 12. And they explain that like the scientists who used to run this one, were doing like experiments with like monsters and crossbreeding with humans, blah 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 blah. Classic Fallout stuff. Love it. I do.
It's the one from the commercial, commercial that Cooper did. It is Vault 4, which I thought was very fun.
Yeah. Love Maximus rescuing Lucy because I like it, just the obvious. Lucy is like, you're gonna be exiled, whatever. And they're like, she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, here's 2 weeks supplies, but after that you are done. And she's like, that's very nice of you. And she's like, I just have one question. He's like, yes, someone will carry you to the surface for you.
Yeah.
And then for Maximus to like show up like, Dan, "Dan-dan-dan," in the suit and be trying to rescue her, and then she's like, "No, we're just gonna go."
I like the quite a bit.
And she makes him give back the fusion core, and that's very nice. And then they have that heart to heart where she's like, "You're." I like how it starts at first, like when she's like, because he likes the oysters when he's down in the vault, and she's like, "You like oysters? My vault doesn't have oysters, but we do have canned tuna. If you like oysters, you'll probably like canned tuna." And she's like, "I'm sorry, it's just every stranger I've met has been awful, and you're the first stranger that I've met that isn't awful, and I'd really like it if you came and lived in my vault with me."
So cute, made me so happy.
And then he's just like, "I lied to you. My name isn't Titus or whatever. It's Maximus, and I killed the guy with this suit, and I'm not a good person, you know." And she's like, "I threw acid on the guy's face earlier. This is a hard place, and I've only been up here for like 2 days."
I also love when they go back and throw the fusion cell back down the chute.
Yeah.
And the person at the bottom goes, "Thank you."
Yeah.
It's great. Vault 4 started the show for me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really, really hope we get more Chris Parnell. That's perfect. That's exactly, like, Chris Parnell's whole essence is perfectly Fallout for me.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, that is it. Just the thing where, like I'm even thinking about him in like 30 Rock. Like there's a Halloween episode or something, or not even a Halloween episode, whatever. It's like an episode where he comes out of the like elevator or whatever, and he's wearing his doctor shit, but he's covered in blood. And everybody's like, "Ah!" And he's like, "Oh, this. Sorry. I was on my way to a Halloween party earlier, and well, a stray dog attacked me, so I had to kill it." Or stab it, or whatever he said.
So good.
Or, like him in Hot Rod or whatever, where he's got like the huge tattoo on his chest of a guy, of like that kid, the pissing kid, and he's pissing on a TV because he's a radio host, and he's also pissing on a radio, but he's like, "If you'll notice, it's tuned to FM," because he's an AM radio guy.
So good.
So
he
good.
Also, if he had 2 eyes,
Hugely underrated in my opinion. Go
love him. If he had 2 eyes, he looks like the Fallout, the Vault Tech mascot.
Yeah, for sure. And then from here, long story short, I mean, just everything kind of converges, right? Like, Maximus goes back with not the right head, and has Lucy go on with the head, and goes to Moldaver and gives the head, and she talks about how there's cold fusion and power for everybody, and your dad's a bad guy. He doesn't want everybody to have it. I want everybody to have it. The ghoul shows up. The dad punches Maximus and flies off, and the ghoul's like, "Well, stuffed pig will run, but I know where he's running to. He's taking me right to his hiding spot," or whatever it is. And, Lucy, obviously, has to, there's that point where he's like, "Come on, I'm your dad. You're just going to, like, point a gun," and she shoots him and stuff. It's crazy. It's all crazy. It's all good.
But also, Chris?
Yeah.
You and I live together in the post-nuclear apocalypse.
Sure.
We have started a beautiful community where everybody's accepted and things actually work.
Yeah.
And then someone drops a bomb on us.
Yeah.
And it gets me.
Yeah.
And I turn into half of a skeleton, but I'm still alive.
Yeah.
For the love of God, Chris, don't sit me down at a dinner table for the next 200 years. That was blowing my mind the entire. As soon as she walked in there and I saw that ghoul, I was like,
that is another very dark Fallout moment.
For some reason, I was just like, "Oh, that's her mom." I don't know why, but I think that's her mom. And it turned out to be her mom.
Yeah.
And also, but like Moldaver was her friend.
Yeah.
Why do you got her at the table?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and also another thing I forgot to gloss over, or I did gloss over, I guess, is like the squire from earlier who got his foot smashed, going to the chicken fucker and getting the serum to like repair his foot, but now he's a ghoul, and he gets like shot in the neck with an arrow or whatever. He just starts pulling it. Lucy's like, "Don't pull it out." He's like, "Well, I'm just gonna leave it in there."
Yeah. It's pretty good.
He's a funny guy. I'm glad he was in the show too. He was funny.
I hope he comes back, and I hope he's a disgusting looking little grimy little ghoul. I love ghouls so much.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got ghoul energy. So if they bring him back as a ghoul, that'd be perfect.
I was talking to someone else about it, about the show who hasn't played the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, ghouls in the show compared to ghouls in the game are handsome.
Yeah.
I'm like, ghouls, they really, really...
Yeah, they give him handsome Squidward treatment for sure.
Absolutely. Even though he doesn't have a nose and it's kind of weird looking.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my God, I hate looking at a ghoul in Fallout.
I'm thinking about the overlap in like radioactive, like kind of like portrayal in media. I'm talking out of my ass right now, but I'm just reminded of like powers in Batman Beyond, the skeleton thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, whatever. So that's Fallout. That's the rundown. And like I said, yeah, I think it does a really good job of like capturing the magic of the game. Obviously, it's an adaptation, so it's markedly different. Like, it's just a more story-driven format. So like, there's a lot more like just classic, tried and true like storytelling and like plot progression that just like, no disrespect to video games, but like no Fallout game has this, and that's the part that I feel like is the disconnect. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying it's markedly different because, again, in a video game, and especially in Fallout, it's a sandbox thing where, like, you might play for 2 weeks without there being anything, like, overarching, like, connecting what you're doing. Yeah. You're just out doing bullshit. So, like, this feels very Fallout, but also doesn't feel Fallout, and that's inherently because it just can't be a video game. It's a different media, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, overall, given this show, I want to say, like, a A-.
Solid. I really enjoyed it. And I think maybe my favorite part of it is, I believe we skipped pretty much all the way over, is, the reveal of what Vault-Tec is doing, because I do like in the games that you just know Vault-Tec is shady. Yeah. I mean, hell, you might be able, like we said, we don't read any of the stuff, so it might be explained somewhere else, but Vault-Tec's plan ends up being like, it's something everybody keeps telling Cooper. It's just like, oh yeah, they are selling the end of the world. They are profiting on the end of the world. When the war looks like it's closer, they do better. When things start to get peaceful, they start doing worse. Yeah. So you get that scene where they're at the table from Dr. Strangelove, and they're talking to all the companies, and they're like, we need you. You're all our competitors. We already have 100 vaults spread across the country. We'll divide them up between all of us. Yeah. And you get to choose what happens in every vault. Yeah. And what's the great killer? What's the great outlaster? Time. Yeah.
So he's basically saying, how do we beat communism? We put all the capitalists in a vault and we blow the world up.
And
then we let time do its thing, right? Isn't that kind of the implication also a little bit, or am I reading that into it?
No, you're correct. Okay. Yeah. But if we want to see who's on top, we wait until the dust settles. And we all do whatever fucked up shit we want to do inside of the vaults. And then when we all come out, we see who rules the world. Which one of us comes out on top and decides.
Can I pause you for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I am obsessed with the song "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by Tears for Fear right now. Yeah. Dude, that song goes crazy. If you've never really given it much attention, listen to that song. Welcome to your
My current job, I was like, I don't know, my second week there. Yeah. And we're on a hiring spree. So a bunch of people were getting hired. Yeah. I was there for like 2 weeks, and we hired a woman who I think she only lasted like 2 weeks there, maybe.
Sure.
But beautiful, just beautiful. She walked in, and on the radio, the beginning of that song was playing.
Oh yeah.
As she was walking in, I was looking at her, and the beginning of that song was playing. I was like, oh, we're gonna get married. I was just like, this doesn't happen in real life. Yeah. Like, you don't see a beautiful woman to the beginning of Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears unless you get married that woman, yeah. And I don't think we ever spoke.
Yeah, you're gonna lose that girl. But anyways, finish your thought. You're saying you'll see who's on top, who's top dog.
And so I mean, that's just because in the game it's just like it kind of feels a bit bombastic, which of course.
Right now, you look like you'd be really good at baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Baseball players, huge asses.
Yeah.
So I'd love for that to be me. Because they're just running all day.
Oh, you meant dump truck. I thought you meant like asses and like as an asshole.
Oh no, they're stacked.
Yeah.
They're just running, pumping those glutes all day long. Yeah. They can just spit wherever they want to. I'd love to do that. So it's a little bombastic in the games where it's just like, well, how is Vault-Tec doing all this fucking shit?
Yeah.
How they got all this, and also what's the point of having all this going on? And I like that. Yeah, no, their subsidiaries are doing these tests and these experiments because they're like, oh yeah, in however many years I get to rule the world after the bombs get dropped.
Yes.
I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was fun. Also, he's a cowboy, and I like that.
Yeah. It's a grade.
B+.
Dang. Not often I go higher than you. Usually you're slightly higher than
I do love stuff, yeah.
And then we also watched Late Night with the Devil, and I gotta be honest, I'm fine with this. But I'm expecting this to be pretty short.
Yeah. We're on track time-wise. We're good.
what's that guy's name? Like Mason Dolphin. Mason
Dalmatian.
Mason Dalmatian. What's his name?
The actor?
Yes.
Oh, it's nothing close to that. Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, he's
Also Prisoners.
Prisoners, yeah. Great. I do love this guy.
His name is
Dasmussen, right?
David
Dasmussen, right?
Mulchian.
David Dasmalchian. Apologies, I'm not necessarily great with names, but he is a fantastic actor, and he really gets the chance to shine here.
Wait.
Injured in an auto accident.
Fuck off. You know who I'm not calling?
Huh?
Sam.
Dasmalchian.
David Dasmalchian.
Great, right?
Yes. I don't like him in this.
You know.
I don't buy him as a late night host.
Okay.
And I think for this movie specifically, that's pretty important.
Yeah.
I
would say that I definitely buy him as a guy who's trying. He gives
That's a great
he
point.
gives Seth
Yeah.
Meyers energy.
Absolutely.
Where
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
like, man, I want to like you, but you're just not a host of late night. Like I'm not trying to be rude, but like it's just like your essence does not give
I agree.
trusted late night host.
Absolutely, I
There's no
agree.
comfort here. You're a nice guy. You're funny, but
I don't feel that way about Seth Meyers, though.
Yeah.
I like Seth Meyers quite a bit.
okay.
He's no Conan.
Same thing with like Steve in Colbert, where it's just like, yeah, it's turned off. Your charm is turned off a little bit.
Yeah,
you're
for
not
some
right
reason.
this.
Yeah, for some reason, Colbert just doesn't do it for. You're right.
Yeah.
I despise.
I loved the Colbert Report.
Yeah, because he's doing a character,
Yeah, and it's great.
and I even think, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think Seth Meyers does a fine job.
Sure.
I think Jimmy Kimmel does a passable job.
Yeah.
Like most rational people, I don't like Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I think Colbert is great, but the show kind of is whatever.
Yeah.
I think Conan O'Brien is the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit about any other late night host.
Yeah.
Like even like Letterman or Carson. I just like or Leno. Anytime I watch them, I'm like, God, fucking, what are we doing? I don't get it. Like they're kind of funny.
Yeah.
But also, that's not. Just maybe I don't like late night hosts.
Yeah.
Except
It's
for
a dated thing. It's a
Yeah.
dated thing for sure. But basically, I would say the thing I don't like is I don't like it being presented as like historical documentary 1978. That's bullshit. I didn't like that part.
with
personally.
Michael Ironside's narrating the beginning,
Yeah.
which is strange. Yeah, that happened, and they ran through the whole like in 19 blah blah blah,
Yeah.
his wife and this and that. I was just like, oh, okay. I thought that would be the movie.
Yeah.
So I got no idea what's gonna happen
Yeah.
now. When they're like, this is all one night. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
And then when I finished the movie, I was like, hey, kind of wish it wasn't all one night.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had saw the rest of that.
For sure. I agree with you. And they do a thing where it's just like, it's like you're watching one night of late night, basically, which is, a fun idea, but you're right. You're also right.
But then the weird need to cut to a handheld black and white camera that shot behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But also everything is still framed like it's a movie. I was like,
Yeah, because that's the thing is
kinda
it's almost like trying to do found footage, but also trying to
Yeah.
do like analog horror shit. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick. It's like slightly low budget, slightly indie horror. So
Yes.
they're and it's just like one of those things where it's like this is in that realm. You're either gonna have Halloween or It Follows, or you're gonna have like something that not that It Follows is like comparable to Halloween, but I'm just saying like something that like just works, or you're gonna have something that doesn't work, or it'd be in the middle like I think this is, where it's just like
Absolutely.
this is decent. There's some
Yeah.
stuff that works, but it's spotty.
It's my biggest problem with the like we're saying, the low budget, all in one night, supposed to look like a 70s cable show, is it looks like an Adult Swim show.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it that probably isn't supposed to be funny feels like, not that it makes me laugh, but it feels like a joke to me.
Yeah.
A lot of it does. I overall, I don't know about you, I saw this movie, haven't thought about it again.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's a bummer, because I really wanted to like this movie, and I can't point to anything that I'm like, that's bad, that's bad,
Yeah.
that's bad.
It's just okay.
But yeah, just for some reason, just doesn't really come together for me.
Yeah. In the beginning, they have the amazing Yappy there. He does some stuff, ends up dying. Then they have like a skeptic guy there. He's kind of fun. And then they bring out the big shebang, which is the Exorcist. You're not like the Exorcist, but I mean, I guess someone who's possessed live on TV. That goes poorly. ties back into all this stuff with like David Desmalchi and like the Bohemian Grove and like having these connections and like basically like selling his soul, but also like basically trading like his wife, the love of his life, for success. And
and I feel like this is one of those movies where if I watched it again, probably more of that cult stuff would be not be clear, not like I didn't understand any of it, but you might pick up on more throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And I like that quite a bit. Like it feels like a movie that has lore that if you like you pick the thing apart, you can find. Yeah. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But the base thing, I think, in my opinion, has to be a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it's decent. I wish it were better. And like I said, I do like David Desmalchi, and I know what you're saying, but for me it worked because it was one of those things where it's like I like him and I want to see him succeed, but he's just not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the same way that, like, in my opinion, I've seen a lot of late night hosts not work out. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a tall order to ask of somebody to be every night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I feel like what the only other person I can think of is that I'm like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, other than like, you know, like I think Letterman's great. I think Conan's great. It's different, but I feel like if he was allowed to not necessarily play by the rules and have to be like, I'm a nice guy everybody likes, I feel like Jon Stewart could really do it. But like I can't really think of anybody else.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Jon Stewart could.
Yeah, like he kind of does it already, but like it would have to be one of those things where like he wouldn't like, hey, don't Stephen Colbert it to try to be like palatable.
Yeah, oh absolutely.
Just be yourself, you know.
I think it's like because it's such a like a dying art form. It's just podcasts now. You just host a podcast, but like I think like I can't remember who he was talking to, but I remember watching Conan live once back in the day, and he was talking to somebody that was just so kind of quiet. Yeah. It wasn't like super personable, and watching Conan pull an entertaining 20 minutes out of this person, I was just like, oh fuck. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Like I never really thought about it, but I was like, oh, that's his whole job. Yeah. He is the funny one, but also at the same time, he is the ultimate elevator of somebody else. Yeah. And I was really impressed by it. And like, yeah, no, I don't see that with 90% of other late night hosts. And
which, like I said, works, I feel like, in the movie's favor because that explains why he's failing.
Yes.
He's just not cut out for it, you know. It's just not gonna work, but he wants it so bad.
I think
he's willing to do anything for it. You know?
He's willing to do anything except for seemingly take a improv class. I think that might be my Letterboxd review if I remember correctly. It's just like, this guy has no chemistry, and has no chemistry with anybody else on the show. Like like his Andy Richter or whatever that guy's name was. Yeah. They don't mesh at all. That guy's also bad. He's terrible. It's like, hey, there are places you can go that will teach you to be funnier.
Yeah, this would be a nightmare show that's really on the air. But yeah, you got any other thoughts?
I thought the effects were fun. I feel really bad. I definitely believe in the, you should review something for what it is, not what it isn't. But I feel like that's the only thing I can think of with this movie.
I'm not shitting on it.
This would have been better. This would have been better. This would have been... I mean me personally. Yeah. Every thought and criticism I have is just, it'd be better if they did this, and it'd be better if they did this. Yeah. And so I should probably watch it again to like be able to critique it for what it is and how it being what it is could be better, but also at the same time, I just kind of want to go see the movie again. Yeah.
But well, I hope it does well, and I hope it does well for David Desmalchian. Not David. David, right? Yeah, David Desmalchian. Like I said, I like him. I think he does a good job here. I just think, movie is not fully consistent, but there are, a few things that I definitely do like, and I think overall I'm probably gonna give it a C-.
I'm gonna also give it a C- probably. I will say, at the end, when the girl goes sicko mode and her head comes apart, that made me really squeamish. Movies don't really make me squeamish that often, so good on ya. This movie.
Well. Next week, two things could happen. Either we would continue Bondathon and saw another one of those motherfuckers, or we may decide to hit the fucking eject button on the Saw thing and just try to like plow through all of them to get that motherfucker done. Just because I've gotten some feedback from some of our closest viewers, and it's still fun. The Saw is still fun, but I just, as I've explained to even just like my brother who does listen to the show, not the only person I talked to about this, but I was like, there's still like 6 of them, so that means like the next 12 weeks is going to be Bond and Saw, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so we'll see. We may continue on with Saw and Bond each week. Next week being, Diamonds Are Forever and Saw 4 or whatever. Or we might just plow through these motherfuckers. You want to binge ship totally.
No, I wouldn't say that. But I just want to see other movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's plow through it.
I want to see Have you seen the trailer for Sexy Tennis?
No. Oh, yeah, I have, yeah.
I want to see Sexy
You
Tennis.
Want to say Sexy Tennis? You're a horn dog. You're a horny man in a chain right now with a mustache
that's
and a
me.
hat.
I want to see Sexy Tennis, and I want to see sexy Superman and friends being spies, whatever that movie's called.
Argyle?
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare or whatever. It's like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but they replaced the cannibal with Jack Reacher. Okay. And so that looks like a lot of fun. And also a main character in it is Ian Fleming, because apparently these are the guys that inspired him to write James Bond.
Okay. I have something to say off air about Jack Reacher. But for now, I think that's that, Dallas. Or Mattress Man. That's
that, Dallas, man.
Yeah.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,